Do you want to know why Eastern developers have been winning recently? 2 words: Asian parents. You're laughing now, but I'm sure everyone has seen that funny skit showing Asian parents never think their children are good enough. It's this "you are never good enough, you need the best report card, you need to be better than everybody else" mindset that pushes Eastern developers to come out with banger after banger after banger, while the West comes out with slop after slop after slop. I'm not here to make sweeping generalizations like all Eastern developers are amazing or all Western devs are terrible. There are always exceptions to any trend, and neither side has a monopoly on great or poor game development. Just look at Forspoken and Foam Masters from Square-Enix.
Hiya!
Examples of Eastern titles that didn't quite hit the mark. On the flip side, the West has had standout successes like Space Marine 2 from Saber Interactive, Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian Studios, and my personal game of the year for 2025, Split Fiction from Hazelight. What I want to highlight are the broader cultural and industrial trends that may explain why Eastern developers seem to be gaining momentum compared to their Western counterparts. I'm also not a shill for Eastern devs. I'm never gonna play Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth because I don't like what they did with the story. I'm like any normal gamer, not enough time to waste on crap that isn't worth my time.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And not enough money to waste on the product itself like AC Shadows or products I know that forces me to upgrade my hardware like Monster Hunter Wilds. I know that Japanese and Chinese companies aren't perfect as well. A lot of them criminally underpay their employees and don't promote because they know their devs and artists can't leave the country easily because of the language and cultural barrier. I'm not saying they can't learn the language. When there's a will, there's a way. But most would rather spend the time to improve their craft or work on personal projects instead of learning another language. Let's get another thing out the way. A listed company with shareholders doesn't mean the death of IPs or the company. Tencent, NetEase, Nintendo, Sega, Bandai Namco, Konami, Capcom, and Sony are all Eastern devs of listed companies. All these studios are capable of developing good games, even though they are listed. Being listed just gives access to more money. How that money is being used brings me to the main focus of this video. I want to highlight 3 specific points that will make or break a studio, and unfortunately, most Western game studios meet these pitfalls rather than their Eastern counterparts. How things are run, quality of talent, culture. How things are run. Many Western studios operate under massive corporate structures that prioritize profits, risk aversion, and shareholder interests above creative freedom. These structures are rife with bureaucracy and layers of approval just to get one simple idea into the game. This results in formulaic, safe, and predictable game design and an inability and unwillingness to take risks. Executives and core creatives spread the decision-making, resulting in responsibility being diluted. So when things go wrong, no one is blamed, and this allows mistakes to be repeated. It also fosters this everyone gets a say in everything, and it dilutes the direction significantly, and the end result is a Frankenstein of a mess with no clear direction. Just like our favorite company, The Bash right now, Ubisoft follows a rigid development cycle where most games feel identical, relying on open-world formulas with repetitive objectives meant to waste your time. Large corporate structures can be difficult to manage and control due to their size. The philosophy with these large companies is that we may not go fast, but we can go far with our size.
Sheer fucking hubris.
Like a towering oak that believes it's too strong to fall, until lightning strikes it and it catches fire. In more direct terms, the more people you have doesn't mean the product will be made better or faster. There will be more gaps in communication because it takes time to cascade new information down to everyone at a large scale. Compound that with these game studios deciding to chase trends, and it's an instant recipe for disaster. Just look at Expedition 33 being made by 30 people. It shows that you don't need hundreds of people to make a good product. And I'm sure Yves is seething right now that he didn't get his 90+ Metacritic score he's always dreamed of. And I'm really not kidding when I say Yves is obsessed with getting 90+ Metacritic scores. I don't understand why there's this obsession with Game of the Year or awards, deciding to spend hundreds of millions on a product which in their mind is high quality, and sparing any manpower to do so is something that they cannot comprehend.
Stop it. Get some help.
Every big title is constantly all hands on deck. Eastern studios tend to be more open to releasing smaller or mid-tier games between their flagship titles with smaller budgets that ensures more consistent revenue rather than putting all financial hope onto 1 or 2 massive releases a year. Like Capcom might release a Mega Man Collection or Ace Attorney remaster in between Resident Evil or Monster Hunter. Square Enix will push out smaller titles like Octopath Traveler or Harvestella to fill in big gaps between their big titles like Final Fantasy. Another point to mention on executives. These folks who half the time don't even come from a games background, it's already hard enough to estimate how long a feature might take, and these executives are here setting launch dates based on market trends. Instead of the devs asking, what game do we want to make? It becomes, what can we pop up before this deadline? This leads me to my next point. Quality of talent. In big companies, you've got seniors who aren't really senior in ability. They've just been around for forever. Meanwhile, juniors with the right mindset outgrow them so fast. These juniors are so hungry to grow, create, and have an
I wanna be the very best
mindset. And once the company has nothing to offer, they just leave, pursuing other passions or other studios. People who stay too long without growing just get comfy, collect their paycheck, and when they don't perform, their manager is always, let's find a way to help them grow.
What?
Motherfucker, what makes you think I care?
Here's a good example from a Western dev, Haze Light with Split Fiction. After the amazing wild ride, I was looking at how many people were involved in the credits, and it was a short list of 80 people, mostly mids or seniors. I've never seen anything like this. Because in corporate companies, it's cheaper and easier to hire a million malleable juniors to abuse and overwork than to hire a handful of capable seniors who don't take no bullshit. Most Eastern studios also tend to be very lean, only hiring when absolutely necessary. I hardly see job listings from these companies. Seeing it is like seeing a sign from God. And because Eastern companies have been retaining their prestige, hundreds and thousands of people will apply and they can just select the best of the best. Usually Western companies who do the same also benefit from this. I have been stalking the Sabre Interactive careers pages for months now, and there has been no new listings even when they announced that they have started development on Space Marine 3. On top of that, all the key developers, artists, and people working directly on the product are fans of the games they make, motivated to work on making their favorite title better than ever. In Western companies, however, I know a lot of people who don't play games, and they are not active fans of the games they are working on. Is this something that happened because of DEI? No, I don't think DEI is the root cause, but it sure as heck made it a lot worse. Over in Eastern studios, they seem more open to taking calculated risks, especially if teams have proven themselves before. Like how we all associate Final Fantasy XIV with Yoshi P or Nier with Yoko Taro. I also wanted to bring up another example while researching this video. Metaphor came about because game director Katsura Hashino, who is known for Persona, wanted to leave to explore new ideas. But because Atlas, not wanting to lose such a talent, created a new studio for him instead. This part is more of a gut feeling, but I think working in games over there is kind of like a rebellion. Like Asian parents usually want you to be like a doctor, banker, lawyer, stuff like that. Stuff with prestige, job security. So folks who go into games, they've already said no to all of that. They're a little more radical, more willing to call out nonsense, and just more passionate about the craft. If you're one of those devs, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. In a lot of Western studios, devs get treated like replaceable cogs. Just throw more bodies at the problem, right? Just numbers on a spreadsheet. And if the executives need a bigger bonus this year, just lay everyone off and hire them back when needed. They don't understand that a lot of learnings from previous projects is lost that way, and sometimes features need to get rewritten from the ground up because the people who wrote them are just no longer around. This will hopefully explain why a lot of features from older AC games just aren't present in Shadows. Contrast that with Eastern studios where talent tends to stick around. They get the time and space to grow and improve the IP. The executives also only care about themselves. Squeeze as much out of the customer while they are still there and fuck whoever takes over. A similar example is something like Disney's Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy, burning their valuable IPs to the ground just to make a buck.
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
Which brings me to my last point. Culture. One of the fundamental disparities between East and West cultures lies in their orientation towards individualism and collectivism. Western cultures tend to emphasize individual freedom, autonomy, and personal achievement. In contrast, Eastern cultures prioritize the needs of the group over the individual aspirations. Combine this with the Asian parents' scoldings, it builds a super intense work environment where everybody tries to level up fast. Everyone is trying to out-min-max each other. Yeah, it's a pressure cooker, and burnout is real, but it means everyone is at a certain standard and you are only as good as your weakest link. A lot of devs in Eastern studios don't bother posting on social media publicly, even though X is super well used in Japan. So you don't get stories of devs running their mouth off. It's like we don't want
Dishonor on your whole family.
But you may ask, isn't it because of the language barrier that you don't hear about it? I don't think so. If it gets bad, word will travel because it's the internet, just like the VA strike for Genshin Impact. Even the Chinese players are hearing of it, even though there's a language difference. When it comes to understanding the audience, Eastern studios just kill it. Japanese studios know what their fans want, Persona, Monster Hunter. Korean studios love their hot chicks, even though they are super monetized. And gacha games just want you to spend money on your husbando or waifus. I just want to say, just look at the stupid amount of money Love in Deep Space is making. This is a company that knows what its audience wants and panders hard. If Sweet Baby Inc. got involved and you see an average everyday dude that is overweight in there because it's more realistic, their fans would drop the game so fast. Companies like Square-Enix who want to cater to a global audience, whatever that means, are the ones failing, just like any Western studio that tries to appeal to everyone and end up with a bland, uninspired experience. They erode their core fan base, lose word of mouth, and it actually stops casuals from joining. So many times you hear, who is this game even made for? Or this game wasn't made for you. So yeah, ultimately what I'm trying to say is, when an Asian kid gets the chance to work on something creative, something their parents definitely won't approve of, they're gonna go all in. It's either prove them wrong or die trying. And that mindset, that's where some of the best games in the world are coming from right now. This one took a while for me to distill my thoughts down into a cohesive video. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there in a slightly humorous way. Thank you for watching, and if you have any feedback, do leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from everyone.
Hey, you up, I see